Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ricardo Questions, where I always question the narrative. All right, let's get into it. Spider-Man Brand New Day just did something almost no movie has ever done. It became the fastest film in history to hit a $500 million domestically. Impressive. The numbers are ridiculous. This kind of opening makes the studio executives lose their minds. But the question I keep coming back to is, does this massive success actually mean they got Spider-Man right? Or are we just watching pure brand power do all the heavy lifting again? Because when a character this iconic puts up numbers this huge, it becomes easy to stop asking the harder questions. So in this video, we're going to look at the records. We're going to dig into why Spider-Man connects with people on a deeper level than almost any other superhero, and question some of the creative choices the movie made, especially around one particular character. All right, let's get into it. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Spider-Man Brand New Day just scored the biggest first week in box office history. It became the fastest film ever to hit 500 million domestically, doing it in 7 days, beating Avengers Endgame, which took 8. It also posted the largest opening weekend of all time at 360 million, officially knocking Endgame out of the top spot. And worldwide, it crossed the $1 billion mark in just 6 days, the second fastest film ever to do that. As for the latest numbers, it's sitting around 1.7 billion globally. Now, on paper, this is just complete domination. This kind of performance just usually ends the conversation. If it made this much money, the movie must be a masterpiece, right? Well, that's where I want to slow down and question things. Is this level of success proof that the movie truly nailed the Spider-Man character? Or is it mostly the result that Spider-Man is mostly widely searched and culturally dominated superhero on the goddamn planet? Because the brand power this strong can carry a movie a very long way, even when some of the creative choices leave people divided. So before we dig into the actual storytelling decisions, we need to understand why this character still has that kind of reach in the first place. So why is the Spider-Man character still have this kind of power in 2026? Well, if you look at a study by UK retailer Game, they looked at a Google search data across more than 100 countries, and Spider-Man ranked number 1 in 57 of them, nearly half of the markets they measured. That is a wide global reach. But the popularity alone doesn't explain the connection. Psychologist William Sharp, who written a book about Spider-Man, he argues that Spider-Man's real strength isn't the powers, it's the vulnerability. Peter Parker is an everyman first. The superpowers never erase his normal problems: stress, rejection, guilt, failure. Comics have long been a place for stories about real human struggle, moral cost, and social commentary. And Spider-Man is one of the clearest examples of that tradition. Most superheroes ask what it would be like to be powerful. Well, Spider-Man asks something harder. What if you were still you, except the choices now matter a lot more? It comes down to this simple conflict. Peter wants a normal life. He has the capacity to help. Because he can help, he feels required to help. And helping costs him pieces of his life that he wants, unfortunately. That tension is why the character has lasted 60 years. And it's the standard of any Spider-Man movie that has to meet. The core conflict is what makes Spider-Man work. So the question with Brand New Day is simple. Did they actually protect it? Now we're going to watch a clip from Geeks and Gamers discussing the creative choices in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and I think you might like it. Let's get into it.
Is the crux of the entire, like, anything that's wrong with this movie revolves around Jean Grey. It is her that's been shoehorned into the movie. It feels to me like she wasn't originally part of the idea of like whatever this movie was going to be, and they said, "Oh, we need to set up X-Men. Let's put an X-Men character in. Let's pick Jean Grey for some fucking reason, and then let's put her in there, and then give her these powers that are like story-breaking powers, and they cause ripple effects to the story."
Well,
but everything outside of that, I love that stuff, and I'm like, we just
agree.
A better person, if you has to be an X-Men, would be Emma Frost, who they cast today.
Yes.
Or if you want to bring back Kilgrave, I'm fine with that too. Mr. Negative, which was what a lot of people were thinking. So yeah, I don't know if they put her in. The explanation I got from the guy who worked on the movie, I'm not saying this justifies anything, because I don't think it does. But the explanation was they are going to present the X-Men in the future, which I think is terrible, by the way. I think this is awful, as a morally ambiguous X-Men. So are you guys, I don't know about you, I am done with moral ambiguity in my superhero movies. I'm fucking
through that.
done.
But this is
the thing is with moral ambiguity,
Well,
she's psychotically
straight up evil.
So moral ambiguity is someone like the Punisher who is like, you've done something wrong, I will go further than the law will. That is, but he's still just. It's just depending on whether you think that someone else should handle the justice or him. But their version of moral ambiguity is, oh, I just do evil things, but actually, because I was sad as a child, it's okay. And that's just.
I walk an old man into the street and let him get hit by a car for reasons.
So you guys,
I agree. That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. So as you can see, a lot of people feel like Brand New Day revolves a little bit too heavily around Jean Grey, and that's fair. So the argument is that she wasn't originally central to the story, and it was brought mainly to help set up the X-Men in the MCU. Now, I'm not completely against that, but it needs to be executed correctly. When you introduce a character with that level of power this early, it creates ripple effects. Telekinesis on that scale can start solving or breaking problems in ways that shift the focus away from Peter Parker on more grounded struggles. Some fans have pointed out that other characters might have a much better fit, which is Emma Frost, Mr. Negative, and also Kilgrave. Now, I like Kilgrave a lot because Kilgrave has a more street-level threat and carries a lot of psychological weight. So I really do like that character a lot. I'm not saying that Jean Grey can't work in a Spider-Man story. That's not what I'm saying here. But the question whether she was the right choice for this story. Was she inserted for more of a franchise setup than for what the movie itself needed? That's the difference between serving the character and serving the larger MCU. So once a movie starts prioritizing the larger universe over the core conflict, like we talked about earlier, that's when the character risks getting diluted. All right, let's talk about the missed opportunities in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Let me just give you a brief history of my comic book knowledge. When I was growing up, I was infatuated with comic books. I love Spider-Man, X-Men, and Batman. And I really enjoyed the dark, gritty storylines that were politically incorrect. So I do appreciate those. And I also grew up with Sam Raimi films as well. And I also grew up watching the Spider-Man 90s animated series. And also I want to give a shout out to Andrew Garfield and The Amazing Spider-Man because I do think he did a damn good job. I don't know if this is going to be a controversial take, but I do believe that Andrew Garfield is the best version of Spider-Man and Tobey Maguire is the best version of Peter Parker. That's my take. Don't come after me. Moving on. Spider-Man works best as a street level hero, stuck between the normal life he wants and the responsibility he can't ignore. That's why some choices in Brand New Day felt like missed opportunities. I just didn't like how the movie semi-undid Peter relationships with MJ and Ned. That felt like a perfect opening to introduce Black Cat or Gwen Stacy. Also, another missed opportunity is when Peter is mutating and he's paranoid and he goes see Bruce Banner. And Bruce tells him, how do you decide which parts of nature are good or bad? And what if you're trying to suppress the expression of something that actually needs to be expressed? That's a good line. Very good line. But I still see it as a missed opportunity. Let me explain. In the 90s Spider-Man animated series, there's an episode where Peter Parker is mutating, but he doesn't go see Bruce Banner. He goes to see Professor Xavier. And Xavier doesn't believe in mutants. He doesn't believe that mutants need to be cured. And Peter gets angry with him and it leads to a whole argument. That could be a great way to introduce Xavier and the larger X-Men themes of mutation, identity, and acceptance. And considering that the X-Men issue 1 debuted in 1963 during the Civil Rights era, that's a conversation that can introduce some deeper ideas associated with the X-Men without bringing in the entire team. You could just even have just Professor Xavier taking Jean Grey under his guidance instead of just letting Jean Grey go, which was a bad creative choice, if you ask me. Also, the lack of OpsCorp and other legacy characters, just didn't like that as well. And even Punisher, I just didn't like the mind control plot. So in the comics, Punisher has repeatedly shown strong resistance to mind control and psychic attacks. Most famously, he was able to shrug off Ghost Rider mind control, so which forces people to feel all pain that they cause. But Frank feels no remorse in killing criminals. That's why it didn't work on him. Frank lacks the internal conflict that makes his mind unusually hard for telepaths to control. And then also the Punisher is a tactician, not just an angry brute. I didn't like that depiction either. Let me be very clear. I still enjoy the movie. I really did. And Tom Holland performance was great. I got to give him credit. I got to give credit where it's due. This is the best performance from Tom Holland. So I give him props. He fully embodies Spider-Man. But the story around him left clear opportunities from the source material on the table. And looking at the comics and the animated series, the missed opportunities are just hard to ignore. And hopefully the studio hears that and maybe course corrects next time. As for my closing thoughts, the box office numbers are historic. Tom Holland continues to deliver as Spider-Man. The character global pull is still unmatched. On the other hand, some of the creative choices raise real questions about whether the movie fully protects what makes Spider-Man work in the first place. The constant tension between life Peter wants and the responsibility he can't walk away from. Brand New Day had clear opportunities to lean into the comics and the animated series, and the street-level roots that built the character over the decades. Now, some of those opportunities were taken, others were left on the table. I still enjoy the movie, I really did, but the enjoyment and full satisfaction aren't always the same thing. The real test going forward is whether the studio listens to that distinction or keeps prioritizing the larger machine over the character at the center of it. And that's the question I'm left with. Thank you for watching the video. Until next time, take care and good luck out there.